Maybe it starts with this issue. Maybe it starts with the fact that there's so much change. I've heard marketers, I talk to companies every day, and some people say, well, everything's moving so quickly. If I do this, it's going to be out of fashion. Blogs, is it going to be a fad? Why should I invest now? Because it's all going to move on anyway. Guess what? It's always going to move on anyway. We're in a period of time where whatever you do is going to have a limited shelf life. Not necessarily in terms of strategy, but maybe in terms of technology. There's a lot of good stuff being done that will be extended into the future. So don't console yourself with, well, it's all changing, so I have to wait. Actually, it's not changing that fast in the sense that if you look at really what's happened in digital in the last 10 years, it's been a tectonic shift. It's an ongoing shift. And in some ways, what we're hearing in the room is it's slower than people say because there is that gap. These tectonic shifts make sense. And the key point here is they are tectonic. And once they go in one direction, they're not going back. I do a little straw poll as I work with clients around the region. I say in 5 years' time, will your consumers be doing more or less digital? I have still, in the last 4 years, not had a single client say, nope, they're going to do less. This is all going to blow up. Everyone's going to get tired of it. Nope, they're going to go back to just using the telephone. That isn't the case. It is a tectonic shift. So what we're dealing with is a fairly certain future, not necessarily in speed of shift, but in the fact that it is shifting and it will shift and it's shifting in one direction. That's really the issue on the table. And to a certain degree, it is this issue of traditional and digital media. What is the relationship between the two? Where is it going? We all see and we experience and are talking about this incredible growth of digital media. And I'd rather call it digital than new media, even though we use that term, because I think we did ourselves as an industry a disservice by calling it new media. Because what it did mentally was pigeonhole it to being niche and forever new. It's not new. A lot of this stuff is not new. And it's certainly not niche. It is digital media. But actually the big story and the exciting story, and part of why even those people who are the fairly big non-believers, as it were, should be believers, is that it is traditional media that is becoming digital. I mean, if you're in the advertising business and you work with newspapers, you know this because newspapers and magazines have lived with us for many years now. And of course, digital radio, more forms of interactive TV. Again, you can say, well, I've read some statistics that isn't happening that fast with IPTV. Look at the tectonic shift. Don't look at one snapshot in time of one data point and declare that the tectonic shift isn't happening. It's happening because the big media players are trying to figure out a new world. Some of them are getting together and trying to recreate traditional media online. You have to still watch my commercials if you want my content. You can download the content anytime you want. And of course, you have new players, some of whom, there we go, some of whom are saying, we're going to completely recreate the way media works. It's not about the old model transposed into digital. It's going to be a brand new thing. I don't know which flavor is going to win, but I know in both cases, the tectonic shift is happening. And the question is, how will marketers take advantage of that? How will they participate? Let's look at the numbers. The reality is our next 10 years of marketing will continue very much to be about two worlds. The traditional media certainly ain't dead. Look at that number, right? What's interesting, though, is you look below the surface, is the growth rates. You do the math, and what it tells you is in about 14 years, there should be, at steady growth rates, a crossover, where more media in the world is digital than non-digital. Now, is that number right? I have no clue. It could take longer a bit. It could be a lot faster. If you listen to Steve Ballmer at Microsoft, he says 5 years' time, he thinks that's going to happen. He thinks it's going to happen much sooner. He's yet another voter. The reality, though, is the shift is happening at a fast rate. So whether you believe that crossover point is 5 years or even 14 years, the fact is the move means we're going to have to deal with this now as a major part of what we're doing, not as an add-on, not as an 8%.